gentlemen, and welcome back to my magnificent home office with its dreadful lighting and its electric piano and lack of virtual organ. Yeah, we're still waiting for the organ. I think I've said that now in a few videos, and I will continue to say that until the organ is back. Not that I'm pressuring anyone into getting it finished, but you know what I mean. We need to get done. So what we're going to do today, I promised you that I would introduce you to some of my gear, some of the stuff we've been using. And I actually decided to do a little sort of demonstration of this, my electric piano. Now this is one of the cheapest electric pianos you can buy on the market with built-in speakers, and it actually has built-in legs, which is rather useful. So it comes as a complete kit, and it retails at not an awful lot of money. I'll probably put a few numbers on the screen there once I've worked it out in different currencies. But yeah, it's not the most expensive of instrument, and it doesn't actually do very much, but that's exactly why I bought it. Now, I bought this a very long time ago. It's a Korg SP-280, and it sounds like a piano. Now, I'm not going to show you close-ups of all the bits and bobs involved in this thing. Let me just tell you there are sort of 20 odd buttons and knobs there that control what the piano can basically do. Now, I've only ever used this as a piano. There are some other sounds in there, and I've never used them ever. I think today is probably the first time I will have heard these sounds, so I'm quite interested myself to see what it can do. And there are probably all sorts of features that this thing is capable of that I have no idea of, because I just quite simply never used them. Now, I bought this piano years ago. I used to play, and you can find these old videos of me playing in bands on YouTube. I used to play in various old jazz bands, and I sort of stopped doing that back in 2010 with one band I was playing with. I sort of went into retirement, as it were, and then I continued over the next few years to play with a few old jazz bands around Europe, or around Germany at the time. I don't think were there any sort of, well, there were a few international outbursts in there, but not much. But all throughout the 90s and the 2000s, up to about 2010, I was playing in various different bands, and jazz bands, a few rock bands, a few boogie bands, and all that sort of thing. And I always had, of course, a piano. And you always had to have an electric piano. And over the years, I've had, I don't know, probably about a dozen different electric pianos. And they all break with time, just quite simply because they're being lugged around, thrown around, and then hammered to death on stage, especially the way I play. And like I say, a few years ago, I thought, well, I'm not playing in these bands anymore, at least not as much. So I don't need a high-end piano anymore, so let's go for something a little more down to earth, certainly cost-wise. And I came across this, and I bought it at the time for, I think, I don't know, about 600 euros or something. And like I say, I've only ever used it in a few jazz bands and to accompany choir rehearsals. That's it. And then in the last couple of weeks, I've been using it here at home for our little duet videos, or now as a little presentation video. So like I say, this has only ever been my little sort of in the background electric piano that does piano sounds, but apparently it can do some more. Without going into too much detail, I'm just going to give you a sort of brief. By the way, the noises in the background are either my chair, which rattles about and makes horrible squeaky noises, or the dog in the background he's moaning because I'm speaking all the time. So you might hear some growly noises in the background. That's him, don't worry. It's not my stomach or anything. So a quick overview of this instrument. It has an on-off switch. It has a volume knob. It has a few buttons that do something. And then it has the sounds of the piano itself. Now we have 10 different switches, 10 different buttons that control 10 different sounds, and each of those sounds have 3 different variations. This sounds all very professional, doesn't it? Well, I don't know. Is it very professional? So we have a piano 1, piano 2, E piano 1, E piano 2, harpsichord or clavichord. I'm excited to hear what that sounds like. Vibes and guitar. God help us. Organ 1, organ 2, oh my God. And then strings and choir for the really cheesy stuff. Then there's an indication here that says 120. It's probably something to do with the metronome switch that's over there. And then controls for up and down to presumably move through different functions that I know nothing about. And to be honest, have no intention of finding out about. I don't know. Anyway, here then are some of the sounds, starting with piano 1. Piano 1. Piano 2. Okay, so there we had piano 1 and piano 2, the first variation. Now what about piano 1, second variation? Third variation. Is there a difference? Number 1. Variation 2. Variation 3. Okay, so there is a slight difference there. They sort of increase in hardness, I suppose you could say. Now, what about piano 2? I think piano 2 itself is a lot harder. Yeah, that's a bit harder, isn't it? So that's probably a more sort of rocky piano. Yeah, that's got a much harder, rockier sound to it. Variation 2 of piano 2, I hate to think what this is. Oh my god, okay, this is a honky-tonk piano. Why? And then variation 3 of piano 2, I'm scared actually to do this. I have no idea what this is going to be. Let's find out. What's that supposed to be? I don't even know what that's supposed to be. Now we come to the fun stuff. This is the electric piano number 1. And this is when you get to pretend you're Ray Charles, basically. That's more like it. Now that's a little bit like a Rhodes, isn't it? When you're doing that, I quite enjoy that actually. Don't go lower than the bottom E, yeah? Because an original Rhodes will only have had 76 keys, so all the bottom end there. So it only goes down to there. So that note won't be there, for example. Yeah, so be careful when you're doing that. Don't mind that actually. You've got to give it a good battering there to get some sound out of it. Variation 2 is probably something kitschy. Yeah. Yeah, okay, that's getting a bit cheesier. And number 3 is probably something that Elton John would be proud of. Or, I don't know, what is it? Oh, it's not. That's more like it. That's more like your sort of Wurlitzer electric piano back in the day. I quite like that. You can yeah, get some sort of... That's more fun. I like that. I like that. Okay, which probably means that the electric piano number 2, this is going to be the horrible cheesy stuff that you use. I'm just going to play chords because I hate this. Ugh. Number 2. And number 3. Oh. Just shoot me, somebody, please. Oh, bleh. All right, those were your electric pianos. Now it's time for the harpsichord. And I'm guessing it's not a proper harpsichord. No, it's definitely not a proper harpsichord. But you could probably do some sort of, I don't know. Remember sort of back in the 70s, those crime series where they had lots of sort of harpsichords playing diminished chords. And then something magical happened. Remember that? Like the Avengers. It was sort of a revival of harpsichord back in those days. You can play Boogie Woogie on a harpsichord. It's quite exciting. When I was at university in Edinburgh, I used to annoy one of our leading professors. Every sort of afternoon at 4 o'clock there was a history lecture, and the professor would sort of wander over from the music department to the Reed concert hall where we had our lectures. And the Reed concert hall was full of wonderful instruments, great big sort of concert pianos and various concert harpsichords. Great, wonderful sort of 2 manual things that were great. And I used to sneak in half an hour before the lecture started and play all sorts of boogie woogie stuff on the harpsichords. He hated it, I loved it. Anyway, there we are. Right, number 2 on this bank. I'm guessing this is now into the world of clavichords. Yeah, we're getting into the world of Stevie Wonder here. And I'm guessing number 3 is also something. Ooh, yeah, here we go. Actually, this is more fun than I thought it was going to be. Moving on, I shudder to do this, moving on to the bottom row of stops. It's like an organ, isn't it, where you've got different stops for different sounds, but I suppose all of these electronic instruments are basically a sort of an evolution of an organ from the very beginning. Synthesizers are nothing other than organs controlled by electronics. So yeah, it all started out like that. Think of a Hammond organ or other electric or electronic organs from the olden days. They all had sort of stops or drawbars based on pitches you would find on a pipe organ. They all sort of copied the organ. So the original pipe organ is probably the world's first synthesizer. Anyway, here we have it in piano form, and we're now on the bottom row of the SP-280s possibilities, and we're entering the world of vibes and guitar. That's what it says. So number 1 is the vibe. Here we are. The lower you get, the more useless it sounds, but up on the top, that's quite good fun, isn't it? Good fun. Number 2 is probably, I don't know, some other kind of vibraphone. Oh no, number 2 is a marimba. Okay, and I'm guessing number 3 then is the guitar. Okay. I'm scared to press the next button. It says organ. I shall press it. Organ 1. Now, is this a pipe organ or a Hammond organ sound? I don't know. Let's find out. It's the Hammond organ. Makes a Hammondish sound. Number 2 is probably a different kind of Hammond sound. Okay, so it's got the sort of Hammond percussion sound, which is not too bad. It could be worse. It could be a lot worse. Number 3. Again, a different percussion sound with higher harmonics. Still not very realistic, but it's there. Okay, which horribly, unfortunately means organ 2 is going to be the pipe organ, isn't it? I'm just going to do a chord. Awful. Number 2. Even worse. Number 3. Sounds like a steam engine, doesn't it? Awful. Awful. Strings. Oh, don't they just tug at your heartstrings? Probably not. Number 2 on the strings. Sounds exactly the same, it just takes longer to react. And number 3, pizzicato maybe? I don't know, let's find out. I thought it might have had a pizzicato string sound on it, but it doesn't. It has 3 very cheesy string sounds on it. The choir sounds here. Awful. Even worse. Quite simply terrible. So I've no idea why they bother putting all those sort of funny little effects on there. You would never use them. A normal, sensible, respectful human being would never press those buttons, but they're there for some reason, I suppose. I suppose so that they can tell people there are 30 different sounds on this instrument and then sell more of them. Yeah. So there you have it. Anyway, there you have the 30 different sounds on this. Now, like I say, I've only ever used piano 1, variation 1 up to now. So yeah, let's close up with a piece of music on piano 1, variation 1. And guess what? It's going to be something bluesy boogie-like again, because that's what I'm doing at the moment. I just like doing that. So there you have it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. That helps me, that helps the channel, and it helps YouTube show everyone that this is a popular video and it gets out there. And if you haven't yet, then hit that subscribe button to find out more about what I'm doing with my music. It's not all pianos, it's gear, and it's mainly organs. But at the moment, we are organ free. So we will get back to that very, very shortly. See you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.